He doubled his monthly listeners in less than 30 days, and this is how he did it. Hey guys, it's John here. And in this video, I'm super excited to introduce you to Reggie Hayth. Reggie is an amazing artist inside the Hyped community. And Reggie recently shared with me that he's been able to more than double his monthly listeners over the last 30 days. And this was such an amazing accomplishment that I decided to invite Reggie and connect with me and do this interview and share with us what he did and how he's been so successful with his audience on Spotify. Reggie, great to see you.
Yeah, likewise, John. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks so much for jumping on. Reggie, I'd love to know, what's your story as a musician in the music industry? What was your journey? How do you get started?
Very good question. So when I was a little kid, I learned how to play the piano for a few years, and then I would play the trumpet in junior high, and I got into sports and I stopped doing music. But my mom was the choir director at the church I grew up in as well. So I was always just surrounded by music in some way or another. And then in late high school and in college, I was a DJ. So I learned how to DJ, and there was a point in college where I said, I wish I could make these tracks. I can make this music as good as the producers, but I didn't have the ability to do it or the money or anything else. So I started my regular job, got a little money, and then started buying a little bit of software, hardware here and there. And then I started producing tracks. And when I first started, they sounded like trash. So I'll be honest, they sounded really bad. And then as I started to go on YouTube, and then I took into account, remember the stuff you learned from DJing, remember the stuff you learned from your mom and the piano, and then the software got a little bit better with how to do sampling and chopping, and then I got better at finger drumming and all those kind of things. And then I started producing music that people started trying to buy beats from me. And so I used to sell a lot of beats. And then the beat selling scene kind of started drying up a little bit. And I said, you know what? Why don't I actually put my own music out on like Spotify or Apple myself? And I started working with some of those same artists and started collaborating with them. So I have a lot of music where it's collaborations with other singers or rappers. And then I also have some instrumentals out as well. So that's been my journey up till this point.
That's amazing. Was it always under the same artist name, or when you did the beats versus what you're doing today?
No, believe it or not, it's been under that same artist name of Genesis 7, even back probably 15 years ago. And again, I sold beats. I do have a couple tracks on like some movies and some people's websites and stuff like that. And then I started again making my own songs, but it's always been under Genesis 7. So that's always been my producer name from the start.
That's awesome. And when you decided, okay, now's the time to put out my own music, and you upload it to your distributor, it ends up on Spotify, Apple Music, and all these platforms. Did it take off right away? Did you hit some challenges there? What happened in that?
No, it didn't take off right away, definitely. So I did do a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter, and I did that in 2015. And I got some attention just from the fact that people were contributing to the crowdfunding. And then at that point, I even did physical CDs that I sent people. But then it was really tough to drive people to my Spotify or to my Apple Music or anything like that. So I would say it was like a big accomplishment, but then after that, it kind of just started to drop off quite a bit. And then I decided to do another album, and I did it maybe another year or two later, and I didn't do well. I had no idea on how to get people to Spotify or Apple or anything like that. So I knew I was doing music that was decent, but I just didn't have a way to get people there.
Gotcha. And then what was it about music promotion and the way that you wanted to accomplish goals for your music that attracted you to the Hyped community?
Yeah, so I would say the thing I knew is that I wanted to have much better targeting. So the type of music I do is like soulful boom bap hip hop, some lo-fi, some neo soul. But whenever I would try to get on a playlist, or I would talk to somebody about social media promotion, they would put me on these trap music. And nothing against people who like trap music, but that's just not my style. So they put me on these trap music sites or send out an email about songs with trap music. And it actually made things worse because people would go and they would skip my song, or they wouldn't play the song because it's not in the right genre, it's not in the right spot. And I think Spotify couldn't figure out where I was. And so I was like, that's not going to work either. And then I said, well, let me just try to promote myself on social media. And I might get 5 or 10 people to listen and go to Spotify, but it wasn't going to be a very large number of people. So what I did basically is I actually saw your program, John, on the internet, and I saw it was discounted. And I was like, you know what, if I'm taking the music serious, why can't I invest in the program? So I did the Spotify engine, and it walked me through how to do my own ads and do the back end. And I tried it. And I would say I had mediocre success, but I got better as I did 1 or 2 more songs. I started tweaking things. And then there was a song that I did last year. It's called, I think, the Horizon Mix. remix. And then when I did that one, it was a remix of a song. It did pretty good. And so after that, I also used it for a release I did recently, and that one worked really good too. So I think I've gotten better at how to do your ad, how to do your artwork, how to make it all match together, how to make the song be a good song. And that's really worked on these last two songs.
Yeah, I love it. You said a lot of things there that I think are super valuable. You talk about the quality of a song, and obviously it starts there. It needs to be a quality song. But you also said that in the beginning, getting on playlists or websites, you got the wrong kind of fans to come over to Spotify. And Spotify doesn't recognize these fans saving you music or repeat streaming it or adding it to playlists. And so you felt that it hurt your music actually on Spotify.
Yeah.
And then how is that different to what happened when you started trying ads? Did ads connect you with better fans?
Yeah, definitely. So I went on and I did my ads, and you can pick what are the interests of the people. And so I started picking the better interests that fit my style of music. And the other thing is I used the data on Hyped It to figure out which countries liked my music as well. So those two things together on this last one, I had the right kind of interest. And then I found out, I knew this in general, but in Europe, there are people in France and Germany that they still like boom bap hip hop, and there are people in Australia that like that. So I picked, the US obviously and Canada, but then I have United Kingdom, I have Germany, I have France, I have Sweden, I have Australia, and I have the right countries as well. And so as I started to get better, I think there are people who like my kind of music. That's what we want. Yeah. And so now I get many more saves, I get many more likes, and I get much more radio play as well.
That is awesome. Let me share something here real quick, and I'll share it on my screen because I'd love everybody to see this. So I looked you up on Song Stats, and I'm looking at a 3-month graph that shows your monthly listeners. And if we look at the beginning of the year here, monthly listeners are right around 3,000, and they stay around 3,000 and then 3,000, a couple hundred until the end of February. But since then, it has been a steep rise to where now it's over 8,000. So you more than doubled your monthly listeners, and you actually reached that level here just the end of March. So it's been about a month when you went from about 3,500 to close to 9,000 monthly listeners. So steep increase. Right. And I find this super fascinating. Do you mind sharing with us what got you to that higher level?
Yeah, I can share. So one of the things I did first off is I knew I was releasing a song in late February. So in the beginning of February, I actually rekindled my ad on the other song that went really well last year. And when I say rekindle, I mean $2 a day. Not a lot of money, but just enough to kind of get people going again to that playlist. And then what I did on the new song, this new song that started on February, we released it on February 22nd, and I decided to take a little bit different strategy. So I think we had a really good ad. It's basically a song about growing up in Chicago, and we have almost like a stick figure type ad image, and then the only movement is the clouds. So the clouds are moving, and then the words come up on it. But it's enough to get your attention, but it's not too much to get you confused on what's going on. So we did that ad, and then from there, I started with a larger budget, or what would be a larger budget for me at least. So I started around $15 a day, and I got out of the learning phase within 2 days. I think that was because I had better targeting as far as what interest, I had better targeting as far as the country, and it was a really good song too. So it's one of my better songs. And so as a result of that, we got out of the learning phase really, really quick. And then I started moving the dollars down a little bit. But I noticed that our popularity score, I don't have Song Stats, I just go on Music Stacks, which is free for me right now. But on there, I realized that popularity score kept getting a little bit higher as well. And the amount of listeners continued to grow each day. And then I looked on, typed it. Sure enough, those countries that I thought in Europe were doing really well. And then I had a collaborator. So the guy that he's rapping on the song and I did the production, I asked him, would he want to go in with me a little bit on the ads? And he said yes. So we kept the ads for a few days at $10 a day. And then we slowly started moving it down. I think it's around $7 a day now. So we slowly moved it down. But over that time, we had a bunch of people that are the right people, and they keep on liking our music. And then what I did is I had a new playlist with that new song as the first song on the playlist. And that's where I direct people to it. And the second song is the other song that was really good that went last year. That's the second song on the playlist. Then it has many more of my music and his music on there. And then on the old playlist of the other song, I put this new song as the second song on there. And so I think the two songs are helping each other kind of let people find out about me as a producer. And then he's getting some residual value out of it as a rapper too. So some people go check him out as well. So yeah, that's worked out really good. I never send people to the profile. I never send them to the song, just to those playlists, and that's it.
That's amazing. So you said so many valuable things here, which are worth unpacking. So you started the ads with a sprint with a $15 a day budget in order to get out the learning phase fast. And then you reduced the budget from there. Then you worked with a collaborator and you guys figured, all right, look, we're both getting a benefit out of these ads. So why don't we split the budget for a couple days? So the collaborator chipped in. So that's amazing. And then in order to get the most exposure for the song, you knew you had an existing audience on an older playlist. So you added the song to that playlist.
Exactly.
And then you used the success of the song also to start a new playlist. And those are obviously amazing promo assets, which you can use for all future releases because you're building audiences. And I saw what I saw was the newer playlist has almost up to 500 followers now. So that's going to be people coming back to your music.
Yeah, the old playlist has over more than 1,000 or like maybe 2,000 followers. The new one has about 500. So it's starting to build up, rival the old one. So it's worked out really good. And every once in a while, some of those people go follow me on the profile, but I don't really worry about that as much. To me, the playlists have been more valuable because then it means people are going to come back and listen more in the future.
Oh man, that's amazing. Reggie, I'm super excited about the success that you've seen with this campaign. And the good thing is, you know, if you get a campaign running like this, it has the capacity to perform like this for a long time. So I think it's going to continue to push up your numbers, cross promote the songs on those playlists. Amazing. Now, look, you shared so much value already here, how you managed the campaign here and a couple unique things that you did. Is there anything else that you'd love to share with other artists watching this video and maybe struggling with their campaigns and sort of, you know, trying to break through that barrier and getting into the thousands monthly of listeners or doubling the way you did it? Anything you'd love to share with them?
I think one trick to it is I was going on it on my own before. And so like you mentioned, John, I had a collaborator on the song. So I did the production, all the music production. I managed stuff with the sound engineer for mixing and mastering, but he rapped on it. We went 50-50 on just about everything. So the ad, the artwork, the engineer who mixed and mastered, we did 50-50. And I said, I'm going to go do ads and you're going to benefit from them as well. So I need you to chip in. And he was good with that. And so I think that was good because it helped me make the budget be higher because he was chipping in with me on the ad. I think that was like really key for us to do it like that. And so I have another song coming out next month and there's two other guys that are on the song and we're going to attempt to replicate that. So it's not him, it's two other artists. We're going to see between the three of us, if, you know, we continue to keep the cost down where we can run the ads longer and a higher value, but then we can cross-pollinate and have our playlist have songs from them and from me. We might be able to get some of each other's fans as well. So I think starting to figure out how to collaborate together and share some of those costs, it allows you to have a bigger budget. And I don't know what other people's budgets are. I know for me, this is my secondary, you know, thing that I do. And so my wife would kill me if I spent all of our money on ads. So I got to make sure I manage it. So that's been great, just to kind of collaborate and spend that money with somebody else. But he's felt really good about how it's worked out as well.
I absolutely love it. I don't think this is something I've ever spoken about in any of my videos, the power of collaborating in order to basically pool a bigger promotion budget, because as you point out, it really, everybody's monthly listeners go up, everybody who's part of the project. So I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for sharing this, Reggie. Now, looking back at those prior days when you said you got some audience to Spotify, but you had to rely on outside sources to get you these listeners, whether those were, you know, blogs, websites, playlists, to now doing it yourself and getting what you described as a much better quality of listener. How did it change the way you feel about your music?
Yeah, I feel much more confident. I think there's hundreds of millions of people in the world, so everybody's not going to like your music. But I want to make sure the people who would like my kind of music can hear it. And the people who don't want to like it, I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want them to drag my stats down on Spotify or anything as well. So for me, this is by far the best way to do it. So on this last campaign, I didn't use anything else. I mean, in the past, I might have done a couple Submit Hub things. I might have had a blog, put it out. I just didn't even spend any money on those kind of things. And I said, I'm going to go all for targeted listeners. And I feel like that got my music in front of the people who would like it. And then I said, hopefully from there, Spotify will recognize that, give me radio play or algorithmic play, because I did hit Discover Weekly one of these weeks as well. And then that's more people that are more likely to listen because they know the kind of people that will listen. So for me, I'm all in on doing it through the ads now. And I will spend probably not a lot of money doing other routes because it just hasn't played out very well.
Yeah, amazing. Reggie, I want to thank you so much for sharing this wealth of knowledge and your experience with us. It's been absolutely amazing. I really thank you for your time. Now, lots of folks who watch this video might be wondering, where can I check out Reggie's music? So where can we listen to you?
Yeah, you can check it out. So it's Genesis 7 is my producer name. Genesis. and then the number 7. The important thing is the 7 is right after the S. No space, no underscore, no nothing, just Genesis 7. And if you look that up on Spotify, you will go right to me. You will see my profile. And the first few songs, the first 2 on there right now are the 2 songs that I did the ads for and that I've been really, really successful with. I'm proud of a lot of my other songs as well, but those 2 are the ones that have done the best recently, and you'll see those right away.
Awesome. Reggie, appreciate it. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a link to your Spotify profile, Genesis 7, at the bottom here below this video. So that makes it really easy. So if you want to check out Reggie's music, just look up the link in the video description here. I'll take you right over to Spotify. Reggie,
listen for 30 seconds though. Don't stop right away, guys.
Exactly. Listen to at least 30 seconds to most of the songs. I love it. Reggie, again, thank you so much. And I wish you best of luck with your music. And hopefully we get a chance to do another one of these here when you double your listeners next time.
All right. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Cheers.
All right.
Want to get your music heard on Spotify with AI? I just launched a brand new video training program called the Spotify Growth Switch, where I show you how to start growing real listeners, real fans, and real streams on Spotify in less than 10 minutes using software and AI. I've used the Spotify Growth Switch system to now grow my music to over 7 million streams and tens of thousands of monthly listeners on Spotify. This works for any music genre. It gets you real fans and listeners super fast, and it's extremely easy to set up, literally just like flipping a spotlight switch for your music. Despite using AI, you don't need to know nothing about tech stuff in order to be successful with this. I've had the tremendous privilege of helping multiple tens of thousands of music artists grow their music on Spotify, many of which have grown to much larger numbers, lots more listeners, lots more streams than I have using the systems that I've taught. Makes me so proud of their success. And so if you want to get more real listeners, real fans, and real streams for your music fast using state-of-the-art software and AI, then click the link below this video and check out the Spotify Growth Switch. I can't wait to help you grow your music on Spotify, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.